Welcome to this special edition of Inside the Bubble with me, Bobby. Welcome to this special edition of Inside the Bubble with me, Bobby Stridgeon, the famous Ralla, the famous bagman, Warren Gatland, the famous head coach. Welcome, gents.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you so much, Bobby, for that lovely introduction. I appreciate your kind words.
Can you tell us when and where you first met, and what were your first impressions of each other?
Can't remember when we first met, Rella. Was it when I was involved with Ireland, wasn't it? Yeah, and you were the famous bagman then. Yeah, no. So Rella was met him, great guy, so welcoming, incredibly meticulous in the way he prepared and prepared for trainings and put everything out, and the team room and the changing room. So we've known each other for a long time now. So and it's been brilliant being on the last 4 Lions tours with him. So fantastic.
We go back a long, long way. August Fado. We joined up with Ireland all those years ago, and so many happy memories and joyous occasions. But overall, it's just been magical with this great coach here, Mr. Gatland.
Warren, you've just said that you've done 4 Lions tours together, but which one stands out as your favourite one, guys?
Oh, they've all been special, So I really enjoyed Australia in 2013, because the weather was great. We won the series. Had some tough games, a couple of easier games as well. That for me was pretty special. They've all been tough and all been challenging in their own way, and this is no different.
What about yours, Ralla?
Well, I can answer that very simply. People sometimes ask me who's my favourite Beatle. Is it John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo or George? And I answer, I say, I've no favourite Beatle, but I love the Beatles.
So which tour is this one? Is this the Ringo Starr tour or the John Lennon tour?
No,
that was when the Beatles played Liverpool.
Hey?
This is the Ringo's tour, yeah.
This is the Ringo tour, is it?
Yeah.
We had a guy in who's just sent a tweet in from Scarborough. He was asking what's your room like. There's a few special things in your room?
Well, it is a very, very special room, yeah. It's bigger than my house at home. And the view is magnificent. And there's a fireplace with a fire in it. There's a
I saw you genuine
spa bar.
I came
which
in
I haven't gone
yesterday
into.
and I could hear Ralla in the bathroom, and I said, Ralla, what are you doing? What are you doing? He shouted back, I'm washing my balls. Genuine, I'm like creeping in, peeping round, and there was about 30 balls in the shower, rugby balls, and he's just washing them with the shower. Absolute comedy gold, and he wasn't even trying to be funny.
And by the way, when I wash the balls nowadays, not like years ago, I remember I used to put shampoo into and Rory Best was doing the line-outs the next day, and there was bubbles coming out the balls. He said, O'Reilly, what did you do with the balls?
I thought you said your name wasn't O'Reilly, it's Ralla.
Rory always called me O'Reilly.
All right, okay then. So sometimes it is O'Reilly, yeah? Just not to confuse the viewers.
No, it's just Rory.
Yeah. Moving back onto rugby, which Lions test stands out, Warren, as the most intense or toughest for you?
Second test in 2009. It was absolutely... it was so physical. But brilliant series, and, so disappointing to lose it, and we probably should have at least drawn the series. Fortunately gave away a penalty in full time, and that happens in games, but that really sticks out for me, particularly because we'd improved as the tour went on. First test we were a little bit exposed up front to start with, and then second test it was so tight, and then we finished strongly in that third test, and but that sticks out to me as one that you won't forget for a while.
I'd forgot about that. I'd forgotten when we drove into the game. I was just thinking, we're going to the stadium. As soon as I walked through the door, I remembered that. I remembered that feeling after the game. I didn't even know I was going to that stadium. Goosebumps. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't, honestly. I could feel it. I felt like I was back there again.
And afterwards, I don't think you've ever seen a change rooms like it. We're just
never.
Absolutely gutted. Yeah.
Next question. Across all the Lions tours you've done, both of you, who's the best player you've coached or seen, the biggest character off the field, and the one you stay in touch with the most?
The best player I've coached on a Lions tour is Brian O'Driscoll. You know, kind of. I saw him in 2009, having given him his first cap as a youngster coaching Ireland, and I was unbelievably impressed with his development over sort of 8 or 9 years, and just how mature he was, just how much he understood the game and everything. And so he was sensational in terms of his rugby understanding, rugby knowledge, and the way he'd prepared and approached. So he's probably, I think, one of the best players that I've coached from a Lions perspective. That is, and maybe on the same tour, probably one of the best players in terms of off the field stuff. And even though he's a bit mad every now and again, was Andy Powell. And players love rooming with him because he'd get up, he would look after them, he'd make sure they never were late for meetings, make them a cup of tea, run around after them, and they just the players from the other nations just thought he was absolutely brilliant and fantastic guy.
It's full of characters. Like, I mean, I wouldn't like to pick out one. To me, they're all Lions.
Rella, don't sit on the fence.
Yeah.
No, again, it's back to the Beatles story. I love the Lions.
Well, you're going to say Ringo Starr's the best player you've coached now.
Yeah. I love every player. Yeah. They're all Beatles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The one you stay in touch with the most. You must know that one then. Come on, that's a fact.
The great thing about rugby is that you kind of you're not in contact with someone for a long time, or you don't see them, but it's almost like when you catch up with them again, it's like time hasn't passed in terms of that, because you just have an affinity with the experiences that you've had.
I was speaking to a few of the boys the other day saying, when you've been on the Lions tour and you've seen people from other countries, every time you meet up, be it Six Nations, whatever it is, then you always have that bond forever. I know people talk about the bond, but you like, if you see someone from 2009, or like if you see Drick or anyone, and Luke Fitzgerald, any of them, as soon as you see them, you just start talking about old stories, and that bond's there forever. And that's something that's brilliant about the Lions. So obviously we're in this bubble, and it's difficult for players without the families. But what have the Lions been doing to sort of keep the boys motivated? Is there anything that's been done to keep them motivated while they're away?
Oh, I think they've been outstanding, and Gemma and all the backroom crew and the guys doing all the videos have been brilliant. I mean, yesterday in everyone's rooms you had a family photo that had been sent in, all framed up, and I know that meant a lot to the players. And then, we're trying to stay in touch and do things differently, and just remind everyone about how important families are and everything, and try and stay in touch, but just doing little wee things that are just a little bit special that they don't really expect, but I know the players really do appreciate what's been done for them.
When everyone got back from training, we'd had double day, pouring down, wet, cold, and then people go in the room and they see the picture of the family in that lovely frame. It was special. It was good. So, boys, having spent so many years together off and on, 4 Lions tours, obviously it's 50 million tests with Ireland. What's your funniest memory of each other?
I have one.
Did it involve the Beatles?
No. But I remember once in Australia, and the liaison officer, Australian guy, said to me, issue an edict, Rala, and tell everybody to put their blazers in today, if or not they want their blazers cleaned, which I did. And the one blazer I forgot was yours. So I rang your man up and said, oh, Jesus, quick, come back. One blazer is not done. So your man came back, took Warren's blazer away. I think in order for him to get back at Lala, he put in a washing machine. And he came back about that size. So I said, Jesus, how am I going to get out of this one? And so I went up to Warren's room and I knocked on the door.
That's the floor.
Yeah. I knocked on the floor because I was nearly on the floor, and I held the blazer out. Warren answered on. I held the blazer out like that, so he couldn't see me, but he saw the blazer. And I said, Warren, wait till I tell you this story. I don't know. He just laughed, So in actual fact, it was sort of lucky in a way because I was able to give my blazer to Warren, which got me out of the.
That's the predicament.
And I ended up with Tom Thum's blazer.
I'll tell you a story. Rella told me a story one day. He played for Tirranua College. He was an ex-hooker, and he was telling me the true story. He went to throw the ball in, and the guy's telling him, Rella, low and hard at 2, low and hard at 2, and Rella looks at me, low and hard at 2, and he picks the ball up and he throws it straight in the back of the hooker, number 2. Not number 2 in the line out. Low and hard at 2. That's a true story. So the thing with Rella, he's the longest storyteller I've ever met in my life.
Well, this will be cut down to 15 minutes, but he's been 3 or 3 hours,
I
hasn't
know,
it? You know
yeah.
what I mean?
When he tells a story, it's normally a story you could tell in about 30 seconds. Rella could take
That's what Dixie to say too.
12 or 15 minutes. And that becomes funny watching him tell a story that takes so long. So
I remember.
I remember sometimes you tell a story. Sometimes you actually forget what story you're telling, and you slip into another story. So you get 2 for the price of 1, you know.
Do you remember when we was in the admin day in 2017? So we're in the hotel. I think it was Sion Park in London. So all the heads of departments had to speak to you went first, set the scene and all that, and then Rally gets up, says all this, says, if anybody needs anything, my door is always open, except when it's closed. I love that. So lads, we're going to have to wrap it up because we've been here 6 hours, Rally. So what are your thoughts on the rest of the tour and what shape the boys are in physically and mentally going into these last 3 games?
Again, using the Beatle term.
Well, they've all got guitars now.
I think the boys are in a fab condition and ready to fab for. You know, get that?
Yeah, I get it.
And fantastic form, great condition, well coached, and
You've got to say that. It's society, boss.
yeah.
we're in great shape at the moment. I think we had a
good.
bit of niggle yesterday at training. It was pretty tense, but ramped it up a bit. Boys train well. We think we're good place conditioning wise. We're finishing strong in the games. Thought we finished strong against South Africa in that game, and even though we didn't start as well as we would have liked in the first 30 minutes, but finished really strong. It's going to be tough and physical. Lots of positives, but we know there's lots of improvements in our game that we can get better at, and I think there's going to be a lot of emotion involved in the weekend, and if we can get this tour off to a good start.
Warren, Ralla, 2 legends of the game, 2 Lions legends. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day off.
Thank you, Boucher.
My pleasure.
Bobby.